I wanted to comment about the appointment of Haji as the director of NIS. This is, of course, a reaction to what I had commented about him on the Dr. Kingori's Wicked edition. Well, let us start from the beginning. When Special Branch started, the first African director of intelligence was Bernard Jenga Hinga. And then he was made the commissioner of police and he handed it over to the long-serving James Kanyotu. Now, James Kanyotu was a crafty person. He made sure that he did not have an effective deputy director of Special Branch, because having an effective deputy director of Special Branch would mean that we have a standby director. Anytime you can be sacked. So he made sure he played musical chairs to an extent that no deputy was there. Most of his time, 25 years, he spent over 15 years without a deputy. There was a deputy who was Mr. Ogola, if I'm not wrong. When Kanyot went on leave, he appointed 25 chief inspectors. He appointed 25 inspectors, chief inspectors, to be acting superintendent of police. When he appointed 25 chief inspectors to act as superintendents of police, 15 of them were from his tribe. So when Kanyotu came back from leave, he revoked the appointment of acting superintendent for the 25 for the simple reason that Ogola's tribe had 15 and other tribes had 10. He went back to being without a deputy. Among the people who were appointed superintendents was one Ademba. And then Ademba later had a disciplinary offense and he was demoted back to the rank of inspector. Now somebody who was a superintendent, being an inspector, he led a terrible life. When I joined him, he later was made a chief inspector and taken to Garissa, and he retired on age grounds as a chief inspector. So Ogola, the mismanagement of the office, including but not exclusively for that appointment, Kanyotu remained back as somebody without a deputy. Then he had a long time Stephen Moreithi. Stephen Moreithi, in my view, is the best deputy director Kenya will ever have. But the problem with Stephen Moreithi was that James Kanyotu and Daniel Arap Moi wanted to, the three of them owned some properties. Moi, as the president, had shares, Kanyotu had shares, Stephen Moreithi had shares. So Moi wanted to grab Stephen Moreithi's properties. And you see, those people, they were working not for salary, they were working for position. So Stephen Moreithi was transferred from the police, that is the Special Branch, and transferred to Uplands Bacon Factory as the general manager. Those older than me will notice that in those days, schools such as Alliance and Lenana had what we called cadet officers. These are students who used to have uniforms similar to those of the police. The exact uniform, I can say, if you allow me, that they were police reservists. They used to have the police uniform. They used to handle parade just like any other police officer. And once they completed, they would join the police as direct entry inspector. Stephen Mureithi was one of them. When Stephen Mureithi was detained, because his pride would not allow him to leave a low-paying job of a deputy director of special branch and joining, his pride would not allow him to take a low-paying job of a deputy director of intelligence and going to a high-paying general manager of Uplands Bacon. He refused and sued the president, and then he was placed in detention. His lawyer was John Haminwa. So he was replaced by Mr. Muthiora. Mr. Muthiora became the deputy director, and when Mr. Muthiora was the deputy director, shortly it was discovered that he was over 60 years. So Kanyotu said, hey bana, kwa nini hukwenda retire ukiwa 55? So Kanyotu again became without a deputy. I'm saying this because I'm trying to show why Moi started the system of taking in the military people. So it was the turn of Kambas to have a deputy. And the best deputy to have placed there was supposed to be Christopher Maluki Lati. But because Mulu Mutisia really liked illiterate people like him, he pushed for, I'll remember the name of the person he pushed, so as to be the deputy director. So he pushed for this Mukamba, whom I've forgotten the name, but I may remember, maybe I'll put it in the comment section. It's not deliberate, it's just that I've forgotten. He placed him as Kivuvani. Yeah, the name was Kivuvani. Kivuvani was placed as the deputy director of intelligence, and Kanyotu was. So Kanyotu was comfortable with an illiterate fellow, Kivuvani, as his deputy. Then out of the blues, you know Kikuyus from Nyeri have a close relationship with the Kirinyaga people. Kirinyaga people have connections, three-dimension connection. They are connected to Embu, they are connected to Meru, and they are connected to Nyeri Kikuyus. So when Kibaki resigned as the director of as the vice president of Kenya, not as a vice president, as a minister, and started DP on a Christmas day, President Moi was so mad at Kanyotu. He thought that Kanyotu knew it, and because of that closeness of Kirinyaga and Nyeri, he did not. So Moi questioned the loyalty of James Kanyotu, and that is how James Kanyotu suddenly retired. And you know, he was retiring when he had no effective deputy. So Kivuvani was there, and Kivuvani really messed with his job. That is when Moi now started hunting into the military, the Directorate of Military Intelligence. Now this military intelligence, and I've always believed this thing, take the Kenya Prison Services. We have former PPO for Central Wambua, who was Commissioner of Prisons. We have Oyugi, who was the Commissioner of Prison. He was a CID man. And then we now have a military man in charge of prison. I always believe that any service should have a person who started, maybe even at cadet level. But taking complete strangers, you are killing these senior deputy bosses of this person. So we didn't have effective people, and you know, when the military people were there, they would see people like Musikiti Kusimba, and they wanakata hao miguu mizizi. So that is how the military went there. The decision by the present government, or the interviewing body, if we can say that, to appoint an insider. Let it be in future a competition within the insiders on an interview. I'm not just talking of NIS or Kenya prisons or anywhere. We also had that problem in the Kenya police when we had a military man, Major General Hussein. Let us be having strictly people from the boot. Hussein Haji is a lawyer, but is more of an intelligence officer than a lawyer. So to me, and as I told Dr. Kingori, intelligence officers run away from me because, well, when I comment things, they'll be associated with that. But in reality is that I believe that Hussein Haji, not only as a former, well, first of all, he himself is qualified, but also we should have in the future intelligence officers be NIS people from down upwards. Don't take military intelligence corps to come there. Lastly, as I talk, we have a problem. Intelligence, NIS write reports. They don't write reports about themselves. Now, when I am out here, they make funny reports about me. And then tomorrow I am made the Director General of NIS. You see, I come across those. And I want to give you an example. There is somebody who was an SSP who was called Masika. He was the DSIO. He was in charge of Uasin Gishu. He wrote about the ADC, Moise ADC, Boynet, that he had grabbed a plot in Eldoret. He had even wrote so many people who had grabbed plots. Kina Baringetunyi Plaza. And you know, coincidentally, let me use the word coincidentally, intelligence don't remember you when you are past retirement age unless you yourself remember. When Boynet was made the Director General of Intelligence, he came across that report. And Mr. Masika, who was the head of intelligence in Eldoret, he had been transferred to Kapsabet. That is when he was told to retire with immediate effect. So please, should anything happen, should that vacancy, should the director of NIS vacancy fall again, let it be an insider. Not only in NIS, but all other security matters. Warioba, when Warioba goes out, let somebody from the prison, even if they have to plug out somebody from retirement, but let it be somebody who has been in prison. Kenya, the National Police Service, let it be somebody from the National Police Service. But kindly, in the National Police Service, let it be rotational like the military. Let it be rotational so that, like the current Inspector General, he is a GD person. Let the next one, you see, the head of AP now is a police officer, is a general duty person. Actually, his last station was, he was the commandant in Kiganjo. He handed over to Koome, now Koome is his boss. The head of administration police is a former GD officer. Let AP be headed by professional APs. Let GDs be headed by, but when it comes to the Inspector General, let it be rotational. Let it be like, okay, we have all the time we have had, well, there is two of them. Sieke was a GSU man. The last two IGs were from NIS. Now the current one is a GD fellow. Let the next one be from, because we have already had a GSU person, let the next one be from the AP. And then the one after the AP, let that one be from the prison service. Of course, I want the prison services to join the National Police Service. So, Bwana Haji, hongera. If we meet on the street, eka ka ngiri mkononi mwangu. Thank you.